We've finally found them. Let's go get their planet. A creature stares at the data flashing on a super high-tech translucent screen. Their space station is many light years away from Earth. They were waiting for this signal for a long, long time. They jumped into spaceships and rushed toward Earth, and they don't come as tourists or friends. They are out to conquer. No worries, it's just a hypothetical scenario, but humanity did send a message into space back in 1974. They aimed it at a star cluster 25,000 light-years away. If the message ever reaches someone, they'll know who we are, what we're made of, and creepiest of all, exactly where we live. So why would someone send out such info? Back in the 1970s, the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico had just gone through a major upgrade. The scientists really wanted to show off the power of this massive radio telescope, and they found a way. Instead of just listening out for possible signals from other civilizations, they flipped the script and sent one. The mastermind behind it was Frank Drake, a legendary astronomer known for the Drake equation. It's a formula to estimate how many intelligent civilizations might exist in the galaxy. He teamed up with Carl Sagan, and they created a message in binary code, just ones and zeros, that described humanity. The whole thing was squeezed into just 1,679 bits. Why that number? Because it's the product of two prime numbers, 73 and 23. If you arrange the bits into a rectangle of 73 rows and 23 columns, you get a pixelated picture, kind of like early 8-bit video games. So what exactly did we send? First of all, the numbers 1 to 10. Second, the atomic numbers for hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus, the building blocks of DNA. There was also a rough diagram of our DNA structure, a stick figure of a human. Yep, a stick man, I'm not kidding. Then there was also our average height and the human population at the time, about 4.3 billion. Oh, and they did include the location of our planet in a diagram of our solar system, and also a drawing of the Arecibo telescope itself. They aimed the message at Messier 13. It's a huge ancient cluster with hundreds of thousands to millions of stars in one place. Imagine how many prospective planets could be there. The cluster is about 25,000 light-years away. That means it will take 25,000 years for the message to get there, and another 25,000 years for any reply to reach us. So, realistically, we won't be getting a new phone who dis text from extraterrestrial creatures anytime soon. The whole thing was meant more as a symbolic gesture, as a way to flex human intelligence and celebrate our tech. Even Carl Sagan says it was kind of like launching a bottle into the cosmic ocean. Sounds cool, but not everyone agrees it was a good idea. Over the years, the Arecibo message has sparked a lot of controversy. Because, here's the thing, what if someone does hear us? And what if they're not friendly? One of the most brilliant physicists in history, Stephen Hawking, famously warned against actively trying to contact extraterrestrial civilizations. He explained that when advanced civilizations have met less advanced ones on Earth, it usually ended badly. And by badly here, I mean horrible things like colonization and many people losing their lives. Hawking said trying to contact some creatures without knowing who's out there could lead to someone coming to raid Earth for resources, then move on. And the famous physicist is not alone here. Plenty of modern scientists argue that sending signals into deep space is reckless. We don't know who's out there. We don't know what they want. And now they know exactly where to find us. The scariest part is that even if we regret sending the message, it's already gone and we can't take it back. It's flying through space right now at the speed of light. Like a cosmic postcard we can't unsend. Since Arecibo, we haven't stopped, but gotten even bolder. In 2008, scientists sent a Beatles song across the universe toward the North Star, which is 433 light-years away from Earth. The song is traveling at the speed of light and should reach its goal in the year 2441. The scientists digitized the song into a data stream, so endless ones and zeros, and blasted it as a radio signal using the DSS-63 dish in Madrid. That dish is about 3/4 as tall as the Statue of Liberty, and it wasn't the first time music traveled into space. Former Beatle Paul McCartney beamed his first intergalactic concert to the International Space Station in 2005 and loved the idea of the new launch. In 2013, some extraterrestrial enthusiasts started a whole crowd-funded lone signal project. The project's beacon was sending tiny 144-character messages, kind of like cosmic tweets, from everyday people on Earth to a red dwarf star named Gliese 526. It's 17.6 light-years away from Earth, and it doesn't have any known planets. The message could reach it in 18 years. There was one part made up of a sequence of prime numbers to explain physics and where we are in the galaxy. It had enough clues so that whoever's listening could crack the next part, the human language messages. The second layer was the fun part, the 144-character citizen messages sent from the Lone Signal website. They could be in any language and say pretty much anything. Anyone joining the beaming community could send their first message free, but after that, each new one cost 25 cents. They were hoping to raise $100 million to build a global network of satellite dishes, so we could beam messages all across the Milky Way. But oops, the project ran out of cash just after a couple of months. With our current tech, we could send anything into space, from entire encyclopedias, 3D models, to digital DNA into the stars. But the big question is, who will hear it? And what if they want to wipe us out without even leaving their planet? The wildest part is that some people think some mysterious they have already found us. On the night of August 15, 1977, scientists at Ohio State University's Big Ear Observatory spotted a mysterious deep space signal. It was exactly in the spot where guys from the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence organization had been hoping to find something. The signal lasted 72 seconds, was super strong, and then completely vanished. For years, many people believed it was a signal from some unknown extraterrestrial civilization and were hoping to hear from them again. But then, in 2020, scientists spotted mini-WOW signals. Tiny, much weaker versions of the famous 1977 one. Back in the 70s, scientists didn't know about magnetars, those super powerful neutron stars with insane magnetic fields. The original WOW researchers guessed maybe a hydrogen cloud was behind it, but they couldn't explain how it got so loud. Those massive clouds of hydrogen float through space and constantly give off radio signals. Astronomers have been using them for decades to map the shape of our Milky Way. But they're never usually powerful enough to match the WOW signal unless something, like a magnetar, gives them a little boost. It sounds like a really legit explanation for that mysterious signal, but we can't be 100% sure it was that. And just the same way, we can't be 100% sure if the Arecibo message was a brilliant step forward or a potentially dangerous mistake. We won't know for thousands of years, if ever. The Arecibo telescope collapsed in 2020. After nearly 60 years of exploring space, the giant dish fell apart and was eventually demolished. But the message lives on. It's still flying through space across star systems we've never seen. Maybe one day, someone will hear it, and maybe they'll reply with something we've been dreaming about for centuries. You're not alone. It's 3 a.m. Suddenly, a radio telescope beeps. The monitor shows a violent, massive burst of energy where it shouldn't be. The scientist spills his coffee, scrambles to hit record, and zooms in on the source, but finds nothing. Just silence. Was this a glitch or some cosmic coincidence? Actually, new research argues that this is exactly what first contact might look like. Science fiction has been preparing us for meeting ETs for decades. Since we can't travel through space yet, we kind of hope they'll come to us. Hopefully in peace without the laser weapons. But astronomers shrug and say this is highly unlikely, so they've built better telescopes and asked a better question. If life exists out there, what would actually jump out on our screens? That brings us to the streetlight effect. It's the simple idea of searching for your lost keys under the lamppost, just because that's where it's easiest to see. Scientists do the same thing with the universe. They catch the stuff that's easiest to detect, not what's most common. This is how the first planets outside our solar system were discovered in 1992. For years, astronomers stared at sun-like stars, hunting for Earth-like planets, and found nothing. Instead, the first exoplanets showed up orbiting a pulsar. When a giant star runs out of fuel, its core gets squeezed into an incredibly dense chunk of matter that spins unbelievably fast. When rotating, it can aim a radio beam our way like a space lighthouse. Every time the beam crosses Earth, we detect it like a pulse. Thump, thump, thump. That's why it got the name pulsar. Turns out it was just spinning, but we kept the name. The timing of pulses stays so precise that it works like a cosmic stopwatch. So when a nearby planet tugs on a pulsar, that perfect timing wobbles. The pulses might arrive a bit too early or a bit too late. That's how astronomers found the surrounding planets. That's the streetlight effect on a cosmic scale. The idea is that we will only notice intelligent life if it does something loud that sets off alarms or breaks some rules. A Columbia astrophysicist named David Kipping gave the idea a name, the eschaton hypothesis. Eschaton comes from Greek and points to the end, like the final chapter. The idea is that when we finally find signs of intelligent life out there, it probably won't be during peaceful times. It will be because something went wrong. Some one-of-a-kind situation for them. A moment so loud it rips through the background static of the universe and reaches all the way over here. Calm civilizations don't show up on radar. A world that runs on clean energy and keeps its tech quiet could last a million years, and we'd never know it was there. But what if they did something big and messy just to survive? Maybe they fired up a planet-wide laser array to nudge an incoming asteroid off course. Or maybe they're testing some super advanced technology. Whatever the noise, even if it lasts for just a few seconds, it could hit radio dishes across the galaxy like a flare. Yes, all of that sounds like science fiction, but that's exactly why we'd notice it. But here's an interesting question. Have we already detected such a signal? There is one candidate that fits this profile perfectly. It remains the most famous unsolved mystery in the history of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. In 1977, Ohio's Big Ear Telescope caught a radio surge about 30 times stronger than the background, and a volunteer spotted it in the printout. He highlighted the signal's intensity reading, 6EQUJ5, and scribbled down "Wow" next to it, which is how the event got its popular name. The signal lasted exactly 72 seconds. This duration is significant because it matched the time it took for the Earth's rotation to scan across that specific point in the sky. The signal didn't fade away. The telescope simply looked past it. However, when astronomers returned to that spot, nothing was there. They've listened for nearly 50 years, but the signal never repeated. In the science world, things that can't be repeated usually get tossed aside as mistakes. It's important to be careful because false alarms happen pretty often. There's a famous false alarm that still makes astronomers cringe. At the Parkes Observatory in Australia, telescopes kept picking up weird, chirpy signals starting in the late 90s. For 17 years, nobody could figure them out. People blamed lightning, space weather, and space invaders. But in 2015, they all figured it out. The strange signal was coming from the microwave in the break room. If a hungry scientist pulled the door open before the timer hit 0, it leaked a tiny burst of radio waves that looked exactly like a signal from deep space. 17 years of mystery for a disappointing reveal. But the WOW signal didn't behave like that. It didn't look like a satellite, a plane, or any kind of interference, and they definitely made sure it wasn't a kitchen appliance. It came from deep space, near the constellation of Sagittarius. If we apply Kipping's eschaton theory, this might be what we need to prove life outside our planet. The wow signal could have been an engine flare from a colony ship trying to escape a disappearing world. Or it could have been a rare natural radio event that just happened to hit us at the perfect moment. The wow signal grabbed attention because it reached us in radio waves. But Kipping's theory also asks, what if a civilization gives itself away in a completely different way, not with sound, but with pollution? Clues that technology, not nature, caused something are called technosignatures. Think of them as leftover traces. If you walk into a house that smells of fresh paint, you can assume someone was there recently. Astronomers use the same logic with planets. They scan distant exoplanet atmospheres for chemicals that shouldn't exist naturally. The biggest target is a family of chemicals called CFCs. For decades, humans filled the air with these gases because they were cheap and useful. We used them in spray cans and cooling systems, until scientists realized they were bad for the ozone layer. That's why CFCs are such a big deal. Nature doesn't make them. These chemicals are 100% artificial. So if we point a telescope at a distant planet and find its air is full of CFCs, it would be the vital clue astronomers have been waiting for. It could mean someone intelligent is down there, and they're polluting their world on an industrial scale. Besides radio waves and chemistry, you might be able to spot a civilization if they're doing something cool with light. In 2015, astronomers watching a star about 1,400 light-years away, nicknamed Tabby Star, noticed something that seemed impossible. When a Jupiter-sized planet crosses a star, it blocks about 1% of the light. But this star suddenly dimmed by 22%, and it wasn't one clean dip either. The brightness kept plunging in weird uneven chunks with no tidy, repeatable schedule. That's something huge getting in the way. For a brief moment, scientists hoped for a Dyson swarm. That's a hypothetical megastructure made of solar panels and wrapped around a star to capture its energy. Sadly, later studies leaned toward dust clouds instead, but Tabby's star still grabs attention. We keep asking, where is everybody? But for decades, we could only watch a tiny slice of the sky at a time. That's about to change with telescopes like the Rubin Observatory that will sweep the entire southern sky every few nights, over and over, like a giant security camera for the universe. If something flickers, flashes, or suddenly vanishes, we won't just get one blurry screenshot, we'll have the replay. Finally, what if we are the loud ones? We tend to think Earth is noisy because of our TV shows and music, but those signals fade fast. Our real scream is planetary radar. We blast massive radio beams into space to map asteroids. Some researchers estimate that these shouts could be detected from as far as 12,000 light-years away. That's very far. But in space terms, it isn't even the backyard. If we really want to get someone's attention, we need to get way louder. Comet 3I Atlas crashes into Earth, and a wave of widespread destruction starts shaking our planet. Ginormous tsunamis are swallowing coastlines, devastating earthquakes are cracking the ground. Hot debris is igniting massive firestorms. Thick clouds of dust are blocking the sun. Now, that's what could happen if 3I Atlas, a massive comet traveling through the solar system, collided with our planet. But can this disaster actually occur? When will 3I Atlas be the closest to Earth? Let's figure this out. First of all, this comet turned out to be way larger than we previously thought. Its weight is likely a whopping 33 billion tons. Let's throw in a few comparisons to put it into perspective. The Eiffel Tower weighs about 10,000 tons. So, 33 billion tons is roughly the weight of 3.3 million Eiffel Towers. Impressive. Next, all the cars on Earth, and we're talking about 1.5 billion vehicles, each weighing about 1.5 tons, weigh approximately 2.25 billion tons. This means that the comet's mass is 15 times greater than the combined weight of literally all the cars on the planet. And finally, compared to buildings on Earth, 33 billion tons is equal to several large metropolitan areas made entirely of steel and concrete. But the whole idea of how big this comet is fades in comparison with an even crazier fact about it. It could be unknown technology from a different galaxy, and some experts are somewhat sure about that. But why? 3I Atlas was first spotted in July by NASA's Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System. A bit later, the US Space Agency confirmed that the object was an interstellar object, only the third we have found so far. Before, it was Comet 2I Borisov that passed through in 2019, and Oumuamua, a weird elongated object that appeared in 2017. But the newest comet, with its up to 3.5-mile nucleus, dwarfs Oumuamua, which is just a quarter-mile long, and Borisov, which is about 0.6 miles across. By the way, some believe that the comet could be even bigger, up to almost 7 miles, but scientists haven't found any proof of that yet. Besides its size, 3I Atlas is different in other ways too, which makes some scientists question its origins. The object is shedding huge amounts of carbon dioxide and dust while zooming towards the sun. It's most likely the proof that 3I Atlas is more massive than the other two interstellar objects by 3 to 5 orders of magnitude, which is basically a serious anomaly. The comet is also traveling toward the sun incredibly fast. We're talking about around 130,000 miles per hour, which is almost 170 times the speed of sound. Another weird thing is that this interstellar object is following a straight trajectory, unlike anything else in the solar system. Most space bodies move along curved orbits due to the force of gravity. That made some researchers believe that 3I Atlas might be a probe sent by another civilization to explore Earth, possibly with not-so-friendly intentions. Their theory is that the object could be a technological artifact, a sign of cosmic intelligence. You see, the comet moves in a pretty weird way that doesn't totally line up with just gravity. Its trajectory also takes it close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. And researchers think that these planets might be especially interesting for another civilization to pass by. Another bizarre fact, the space traveler also spins backward compared to most stuff in our solar system. This might be necessary to make it easier for 3I Atlas to get near Earth without much resistance. Some scientists think the comet's odd spin and flight path could help whoever or whatever made it take super precise measurements of the planets, things like their orbits and sizes, to plan a perfect route through the solar system. If 3I Atlas suddenly changes direction in a big way, that might mean it's using some kind of built-in engine instead of just drifting through space. There's also another theory that suggests it could be a piece of unknown tech that's still active. There's no need to worry though, at least at the moment. The comet isn't coming anywhere near us. NASA says it'll stay around 150 million miles from Earth when heading toward the sun. So the question is, where do such space visitors come from? Astronomers have found that the 3 interstellar objects we discovered came from totally different parts of the galaxy. And each of them has its own age and background. 3I Atlas turned out to be the oldest, about 4.6 billion years old, and it came from the Milky Way's thick disk. That's a region filled with older stars that have fewer heavy elements. 1I Oumuamua is much younger, around 1 billion years old. It came from the galaxy's thin disk, where new stars are still being born. Oumuamua, Hawaiian for a messenger from afar arriving first, was the first known object from another star system to pass through our solar system. Basically, the first interstellar guest. It was super stretched out, about 10 times longer than it was wide, unlike anything else we've spotted in space. It also sped up in a way that couldn't be explained by gravity alone. Changes in brightness showed it was tumbling end over end instead of spinning smoothly. At first, scientists were confused because the space body didn't have a tail or cloud of gas like a normal comet, even though it was accelerating. That led to a lot of debate about what it was made of and where it came from. Just like with 3I Atlas, some people wondered if it could be technology created by a space civilization. But most scientists now think Oumuamua was a totally natural object, just a really weird one. The best guess is that it was a comet releasing invisible hydrogen gas, which caused it to speed up slightly. Sadly, by the time astronomers found it, it was already heading out of the solar system, so there wasn't much time to study it. As for 2I Borisov, it sits in between at roughly 1.7 billion years old. It also came from the thin disk. It was the first confirmed comet to come from another star system, and it gave scientists a super rare peek at what materials beyond our solar system were made of. The comet was discovered in 2019 by Gennady Borisov, an amateur astronomer who actually built his own telescope to search for faint space objects. Unlike the first interstellar visitor, Oumuamua, which looked more like an asteroid, Borisov behaved like a classic comet. It had a bright coma. That's a temporary fuzzy atmosphere of gas and dust forming around the comet's nucleus as it approaches the Sun. Plus, it boasted a long tail of dust and gas. Studying 2I Borisov helped researchers learn more about how other planetary systems form. Observations showed that its dust grains were compact and that the amount of gases like carbon dioxide changed a lot as it approached the Sun. It could mean that the comet formed under very different conditions than anything else in our solar system. Now, 2I Borisov is speeding away from the Sun and will never return. But it allowed scientists to take a unique glimpse into the chemistry and history of distant worlds. Interestingly, the differences between these three space objects suggest that interstellar visitors have been getting kicked out of planetary systems all across the galaxy for billions of years, so it's not something new. To figure out if 3I Atlas might be some kind of probe from another planet, scientists are checking for any signs of technology, like strange radio signals, electric activity, and weird movement patterns. If the comet suddenly changes course or drops smaller objects nearby, it might be our cue. But even though 3I Atlas is moving in a pretty wild and energetic way, it's most likely just a natural interstellar object passing through. Researchers say they'll need a lot more proof before anyone can seriously say the space wanderer was sent by someone from another planet. What do you think about this newly discovered space traveler? Share your opinion in the comments.
If alien life exists, it may be way stranger than we can imagine. For some inexplicable reason, we've long assumed that aliens might be like us humans. But in reality, they're more likely to be some form of unfathomable AI. With dozens of billions of years of evolution, intelligence can develop in entirely new, unexpected directions. Humans might be near the end of Darwinian evolution. We no longer need to remain the fittest to survive. But the technological evolution of AI minds is just starting. Who knows, maybe in another century or two, we'll be overtaken by inorganic intelligence. So, the question is, are aliens more likely to be flesh and blood, like us, or are they something more artificial? Even though many believe that people are at the peak of intelligence, it's possible that our species may just represent a stage on the way toward more artificial and advanced minds. And it can actually explain why space seems to be empty of similar forms of life. Perhaps an evolutionary transition to non-organic intelligence is inevitable all over the universe. Then aliens could be electronic descendants of once organic creatures that existed long, long ago. Such an idea gives us some exciting possibilities. If AI aliens were out there, they would act and think totally differently from us. Plus, they might not want to be detected. Non-organic intelligence may not need an atmosphere, so they might have already left their home planet. If they didn't need any special conditions, they would be able to make intergalactic voyages without having to fear for their lives. They could prefer to live in zero gravity because, in such conditions, you can build very large and very lightweight structures. For example, if you wanted to construct a giant gossamer-thin structure to harvest energy, it would be easier to do so in space than on a planet. They might not even need to live in orbit around a star. They could have innovative ways of getting energy we can't imagine yet. If their brains were silicon-based, they could realize that they needed less energy to process information at lower temperatures. So, they would move away from planetary systems to colder regions of the cosmos. They could even have periods of hibernation for billions of years. What if they had such a period waiting until the cosmic microwave background, the leftover radiation after the Big Bang, cooled down enough for them to function properly? We can't assume that these aliens would be a civilization either. On Earth, this term means a society of individuals. But aliens might be a single integrated intelligence, or they might be zombies, super intelligent but lacking self-awareness and inner life. In this case, they would be alive but unable to perceive themselves or the world around them. Alternatively, their advanced intelligence might allow them to understand aspects of reality we can't figure out yet. There are likely to be things in the universe that neither our mind nor our senses can grasp. But electronic brains might have a very different perception. Interestingly, these days, humans themselves are starting to use AI to detect alien life out there. After all, there are between 10 and 50 billion potentially habitable worlds in our galaxy alone, and looking for intelligent life is a hard task without some assistance. That's when the US-based research organization, SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, comes into play. This institute is looking for science and technology beyond the solar system. It could be evidence of intelligence out there. But it's a needle in a haystack kind of situation. Luckily, new instruments are helping the search. Artificial intelligence can both handle massive datasets and spot anomalies, which is transforming the hunt for alien intelligence. SETI, together with other research organizations, built an AI-powered software system called the Very Large Array. It consists of 28 large dish antennas spread across a desert plain. When it starts working, the AI will be able to process 2 terabytes of data every second. For comparison, modern laptops typically have around 1 terabyte of total storage. So, hopefully, these new tools will provide us with new, groundbreaking discoveries.